Yes, because before there was no way that white can be better, right?
Yeah.
But right here we have a moment where he has to calculate extremely well.
Yeah, if white takes the pawn and survives.
This is the problem actually. After queen d8 c5, and suddenly great opportunities for white pieces.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to let the white knight into c5, and if not, then just dropping a pawn. Oh wow, he's played e4, your first intention.
So, okay, let's see, what is this?
Okay, so white has at least 3 candidate moves.
Okay, actually he's not going to play this because of bishop g4, I think.
Ah, okay, and
this is the problem. And then knight e5.
So if, yeah, and
so if
also
rook,
black's
if
conquering
rook
the
a1,
yeah,
then,
take everything.
well, first it takes everything and on h2 as well.
Yep.
Or maybe bishop f2 is also something.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see, because e4 is extremely powerful at first. This is what we thought, right?
Yeah.
So what
You
happens
went away
if
from your
takes?
instincts, Judith. We should have trusted those
Yeah,
attacking.
takes, bishop, queen c1, right? So bishop g5 is
Big
there.
threat.
Now black can go back queen d8.
Okay.
This is one option, but what about bishop f3? We didn't check bishop f3? How is that possible?
Okay, let's take it. Let's.
No, but this is,
Hope.
no.
You think no chance of survival. Okay, so
But this doesn't look bad at all for black.
he's
for
actually
white.
played knight takes d4.
And he played knight d4.
So we haven't found a refutation of this one so far. The other lines looked quite promising for black. So knight takes d4, e takes d3. Is that also knight takes f5, or is this running into a refutation somehow? Because rook takes f5, queen takes d3, and white is just happy. After e takes d3, okay, he's played e takes f3. I was going to say after e takes d3, knight takes f5, there was also queen d8.
But
maybe,
what is this?
Okay.
What is happening here?
Does he want queen?
Maybe
Wait.
just bishop f8?
But bishop h3. Wow. Okay, so unexpected. All the pins in the position. This one was
7 minutes on the clock, bishop h3. Yeah,
bishop-
unpleasant surprises.
I mean, it's so easy to blunder right now. It's so easy to miss one of these checks, one of these queen sacrifices.
Wow,
I
what a
don't see
move,
it.
bishop h3.
Yeah.
What a move.
What nerves to just
I got the piece, the
Find it.
bishop e6.
find it and execute it. Rook f2.
Rook f2.
Played by Magnus. And okay, this does step out of all of these deadly
So what about
checkmating
rook
ideas.
f3?
Okay, does he just want to take with the pawn?
Well, if he takes with the rook, then takes, queen
Queen
d4
d4.
and queen f2,
Yeah.
right? And game over.
Yep.
So this cannot be the move. So what about
He has to
rook
take with the pawn.
f3, takes, g takes f3?
How do you bring another piece into the attack? Knight
Well,
e5 runs into
knight e5,
d4,
d4, right?
Bishop f5 still though.
Oh yeah, but this is not what he's looking for, I guess.
Karjakin, do you reckon rook f2 was on his radar? Because that's a clever move. Okay, it was on his radar
Rook
because he has
f3,
taken.
gf3. Well, rook f3 I think was the only move. So
Yeah.
probably knight e5. This is what we were thinking, right?
Okay, that pretty much.
That's-
Does it force d4? I mean, d4 wants to be played by white.
Well, I think, well, definitely this is the first move we have to check. Bishop f5.
Yeah.
Rook f5.
Rook f5. Every move's a surprise right here.
Rook f5. And
Okay.
Magnus has 4 minutes.
Magnus now about to. Okay, he has to.
But you
he's
have
got
a
2
rook
minutes.
g5 check. What? So this is a blunder, for example.
Ah, okay.
If
Nice.
I would go
Bishop
queen
takes
e4.
g5, queen d1,
Yeah.
mates. So d4 was
d4
played,
is played, queen d4.
and Magnus, he's reaching for his rook. He retreats back to
Rook
a3.
a3 with 2 minutes and 24 seconds left on his clock.
Okay, so stopping the threat of rook takes f3 for black.
And he wants to regroup his rook, I guess, to
Mm-hmm.
d3.
Yeah, also bishop e3 maybe supporting that.
Bishop e3 is also something.
Maybe now as well, this f4 idea makes more sense on the next turn. Just bringing that rook across, hitting the h3 bishop.
That's true.
Okay. Magnus, wow, what a move. Rook a3.
I
Yeah,
don't
so-
think white has any dangers.
Okay, he doesn't
anyway.
play.
He
doesn't play
played
knight
rook
f4.
f7.
Rook f7. So that's an admission that this rook f5 idea wasn't quite correct.
Well, he wants to bring his bishop back to f5. Rook e3 played still. over 2 minutes for Magnus. He stabilizes his position. I think black wants probably to go bishop f5.
Yep.
And of course, it's very difficult to... I'm not even sure white is better, actually, because the black bishop is so powerful. But definitely, Magnus is not in real danger right now anymore.
While the queens remain, Karjakin has attacking chances, some tricks, but if Magnus
Can black go rook a7? No, he went bishop f5.
Okay.
He wants to make sure he goes bishop f5 and knight f4.
I guess rook
c3.
a7 would have just been met by rook e1 and control.
Queen d8.
Okay.
I like this queen d8, giving some ideas to give it check and control the black squares. But he had to admit, look, everything is controlled. All the squares, squares controlled by black. So this was something very important and essential.
Yeah, literally every square in the first. Yep.
Magnus is under 120. Incredibly difficult situation to play, but of course he stabilized. He played rook e1, so he covers the first rank. He covers the problems with queen g5, and also, most importantly, he doesn't allow the black knight to go to f4.
Okay, rook d7.
Rook d7 is the most logical, but he had to make sure that he's not blundering anything. Queen e3, and now rook e7 is an option to go back and forth.
Yeah, to repeat the position.
And there is a good chance that this will be the idea. Of course, he wants to go queen e8 right now.
Yeah, or queen g5.
Or queen g5 as another option as well.
And rook e7
what about
cuts
rook
out
d4?
Both. Okay, he's playing for the win then. Karjakin.
He played rook d4. He doesn't want to give up all his hopes, but really this g6 knight is so essential there, covering the e7 square also.
Yeah, covering squares and also always ready to jump right to f4 now, maybe to h4.
It's a defender for the moment, but any second it can jump to f4, which is actually a awfully strong threat right now.
Yeah.
To go to h3.
Does white have to try and get these queens off? Is that the most practical?
Well, you mean queen g5, right?
Yeah.
And this is what he played, so
played
he's going to be captured on g5. I guess there is no other move.
And
it's going to be takes and capturing on c4 the pawn.
And it feels like black is out of danger. Yes, material down still, but it's going to be extremely hard to break through that.
And
black
Magnus
bishop and
has
knight.
1 minute and 10 seconds right now in the game. What about rook c3, attacking the f3 pawn?
Yeah, that would be very
They don't
sensible.
have to ride the move anymore, at least Magnus, because he's under 5 minutes. I would regroup my bishop to d5, but that's not possible for the moment. b5.
b5, yeah. I was about to say it's maybe slightly annoying for black that he can't just completely liquidate the queenside pawns or can't initiate any exchanges there, but...
Well, I don't know if
c5.
white is playing rook c1. No, he goes king f2.
Maybe rook c1, there would have been some tactical issues.
Yeah, maybe
with
some
e5
knight
coming.
e5, yes. You have to keep your pawn on c6, right? So c5.
Okay, so he does try to liquidate.
Yeah, he goes for simplify the position, goes on d5 with his rook possibly. Actually, there is an exchange of rook possibility for white, I think, with rook c1. So let's see whether he wants to exchange the rooks or he wants to play rook a2 or something to go to the 7th.
There we go, he does play rook c1, offering the rook trade. This feels like the best position he's had all game, Magnus.
But I'm not sure black is getting away if they simplify the position.
Yeah, with
Because-
opposite color bishops.
Yes, because simply after this, black goes bishop d3, let's say rook d2, and once white gets to d7, the g7 is falling off.
Yeah, I guess black has to put the knight in e6 and try to hold there. Okay, he tries to keep the rooks on,
Rook
meanwhile.
d5.
That's very instructive from Karjakin. When you're playing with the pieces, when you're in exchange down, keep your remaining rook.
Rook d2, now he has to be taking care of whether, is he going to be bishop d3 to enter into the pin? Or
Rook d3.
it must
bishop
be
d-
so frustrating for Karjakin to have to handle this position.
After all that work.
And they get to an end game where practically Magnus will collect a lot of moves. He will be just able to make moves, getting 10 seconds, raise his time, and then think about it. And really, the g7 pawn, if that falls off, then it's completely over.
5 already just wins a pawn as well.
He took on d2.
Okay.
Bishop takes d2, knight e5.
Okay, so Magnus doesn't believe in fortresses. Sergey needs to hope somehow that he can set up his knights and bishop correctly. If you give up the b5 pawn,
Well,
it's
rook
probably just over.
c7 will be the next move. There is no other move.
Yeah. There we go. Rook c7 and g7 is already under heavy fire. How do you even defend now? King g6 and put the knight back on d7 or f7, but the b5 pawn is going to drop at some point. If he could have kept the rooks on as black,
Yeah, that would help
would have
him a
been-
lot.
yeah.
g6.
Mhm.
But I doubt that he has. Well, he went b4.
Okay, so small trap here. Bishop takes b4, knight d3 check. That's
But
not very
this
well
is
disguised.
not going to be what Magnus is falling into.
Yeah, not the most difficult trap we've ever seen. Rook b7. Okay, so bishop e6, rook e7. I guess black wants to play knight c4 or knight d3 check.
And after bishop b4, he wants
bishop.
to take knight f3.
Even that looks
Magnus is
difficult to defend.
18 seconds.
Okay, he does play rook e7, gaining a bit of time on the clock, also creating a serious threat. Black has to play knight c4 or knight d3 check, most likely giving a check.
King e3, bishop c4,
Bishop c4, will you
rook
run
e4,
it? Yeah. Rook e4.
b3.
Ah, there are still traps.
There are only traps.
There are only traps. Yeah, b3 and that b pawn was running, so king d4, much more sensible. Now b3 is not an issue. Is the piece just dropping? Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Knight b2, there's bishop c1. The two black pieces can't defend each other. Wow, what a game. As soon as Magnus got down to 5 minutes, he just enacted kind of genius mode.
Yeah, he found this great.
And
Oh,
there we go. Another resignation, hot off the heels of the other game. Karjakin resigns and Magnus takes
Wow.
the lead in the tournament for the first time.
Well, he had a very difficult day and he was on
Yeah, he was on the brink.
very crazy game.
Yeah, Magnus there. We see he's not happy. That's probably because of the way he played the opening and the early middle game.